Hello, good evening. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to another Max Goodwin live stream here on YouTube. Today, we are talking about Forest versus Leicester Monday Night Football at the King Power against a pretty flat Leicester City team at the moment. They're not doing too well in the Premier League. I think they're bottom. We're obviously 19th. It is very much a relegation six-pointer, or it certainly feels like it at this stage of the season. I'm just going to take my glasses off. I don't need them anymore now that the stream has started. So yes, hope you're all doing well. Happy Friday. Another live stream. Good to be back after some time away. I did a mini live stream about a week ago. But other than that, I haven't really done anything on YouTube or social media in general for the best part of nearly a month. I was away in Florida for just over a week and obviously came back to the UK. There was some other stuff going on, getting back into work and all that kind of stuff. But it's good to be back and hopefully we can get back into things and all that kind of stuff. The first thing I want to do is just a little bit of housekeeping. Well, I say housekeeping, not really housekeeping at all, to be honest. I just want to, should have got this up beforehand. I have started a TikTok page. As you can see, I've started a TikTok. I've just posted one literally about 5 minutes ago, which was my combined 11 of the North London derby, Tottenham versus Arsenal. Go check it out. I will put a link to it in the chat. There we go. And if you want to go check it out, if you want to go follow me, all that kind of stuff, up at 50 followers already. Videos are actually doing quite well to start with, to be fair, which is really good to see. But obviously, if you want to go check it out, go drop me a follow after the stream. I'm trying to post sort of 3 or 4 times a week. As you can see, going pretty well so far. So yeah, that was pretty much all I wanted to show you. How do I change this back? There we go. So yes, just wanted to sort of chat about the Leicester match, catch up with you, hope you're all doing well, all that kind of stuff. Obviously the Premier League hasn't really stopped, even though it's been the international break, so obviously we've got stuff to talk about. I think there was an all-star game mentioning again. That seems to be back in the air, so we might spend some time talking about that. And just in general, maybe doing some Premier League predictions. I do have a Premier League prediction score chart up here for the weekend. So if we want to have a go at that, we can go do that. So first thing we'll do is start talking about the Leicester versus Forest match. Obviously, Leicester coming off the back of a paddling off of Tottenham. Was it 6-2? Was it 7-2 or 6-2 in the end? 6-2 in the end. Obviously, Son got a hat-trick. Bentancur, Dyer and Kane also got goals. Tielemans and Maddison got goals for Leicester, and that leaves them in a pretty rotten state of things. And despite that, I don't actually think they were that bad against Tottenham, at least in the first half. I thought they were all right. They generated a lot of opportunities for themselves. Unfortunately, they can't sort of keep a combination of generating chances for themselves, but also not conceding opportunities. They generated 19 shots in that match, conceded 16, and 11 of those shots they conceded were on target, and obviously they conceded 6 from them. And a big part of that obviously is Danny Ward. I'm not going to spend this entire stream slagging him off. Everybody knows he's not a Premier League quality goalkeeper. He clearly isn't. I think they kind of shat the bed a little bit when they sold Schmeichel to Nice, and clearly needed another goalkeeper. And it's surprising because there is some decent goalkeepers out there at the moment. Obviously Henderson was about, they could have gone for him early in the summer. They did need to replace Schmeichel. It did feel like he was at the stage where he was sort of dipping down a little bit. But Danny Ward is not a Premier League goalkeeper any day of the week, and they do definitely need a quality replacement. And again, I'm surprised Henderson wasn't on their radar, but we don't know what they were looking at scouts. I don't think they signed. Did they sign anybody in the end? I don't think they actually signed anyone. Let's have a look. I don't think they signed anybody this window. Oh no, they signed Wout Fages from Rennes in the French league. And to be fair, he played against Spurs. I thought he looked all right. But yeah, that squad needs some real reinvestment. Obviously, I think they were banking on Tielemans going in the summer window. I think they were banking on him leaving, getting 30 million quid in. And it's not a lot of money, but it's something to reinvest in the squad. I know they're looking at upgrading the stadium. I know they're looking at obviously pushing into becoming a Champions League club, or at least that was the ambition, at least when Brendan Rodgers came in. Sacked Claude Puel, brought him in because they had the feeling that he would take them to Champions League quality. Back-to-back 5th place finishes, constantly sort of in the Europa League, getting to the semi-finals. Had a decent season last year, despite the fact they only finished 8th or 9th. I think they made it to the semi-finals of the Europa League. Did they make it to the semi-finals? They made it quite deep in the Europa League, I think. And again, it feels really weird that they didn't really do much with it at all in the end. So it feels like it's been a missed opportunity this season. Obviously, with Forest desperately needing a win. We've got some injuries. We'll get into that in a second. It does feel like Leicester are in a bit of a weird rut at the moment. So we're going to take a look at the Forest squad at the moment. And to do that, we're going to go on to Transfermarkt. Let's take a look at some injury stuff. From what I can remember, McKenna's still injured, I think. And so is Leokaita. I think he's still out at the moment. We'll take a look on here. When it loads, computers having a bit of a slow day today, unfortunately. Let's take a look. Squad, injuries and suspensions. Switches over. So currently it's just saying Ora Mangala's injured. This obviously is not up to date. So that was probably not a very good resource. Let's take a look at the squad though. So obviously, I don't know if you've seen some of the rumours going on Twitter, but McKenna is apparently a doubt for the game against Leicester. Leokaita as well is a player who is still out despite going on international duty with Senegal. I think he played, I'm not sure. He was sort of like, it was very much a risk at that stage. And I think the impression was he was going to come back and we were going to see how it goes. Obviously, in terms of defenders, we do have Worrell still. Bardet could play. We have Steve Cook. I don't know if he's going to play. I don't know if he's fit, but he could play. Willy Bolly obviously has come in. I don't know if he's played so far, but he could get some minutes. So I don't know if he went on international duty is what I meant. I don't know if he went on international duty. And obviously, there's depth in that position. Biancone can play in a back three. I do feel like it's probably going to go to a back four. I feel like that's the idea. Or at least that's what people want to see. I'd quite like to see us go to back four, even just for one match, just to see if it works. Something like Henderson, Williams, Worrell, Bardet on the left, Renan Lodi on the left back position. Renan Lodi has experience playing in a back four. Obviously, he's come from Atletico Madrid, where it's not always that they play four at the back, but they can play four at the back. They can play three at the back. He has the versatility of being able to play both. And I think that could be really useful. Same with Nico Williams. Played three at the back a bit at Fulham. Obviously played four at the back as well. Having played three at the back at the beginning of this season. And plays three at the back as a wing back for Wales at international level with Brennan Johnson. So I think generally we should be okay moving to a back four. Toffolo could play back four as well. But I think he's historically always played a back three. So I think I'd prefer Renan Lodi doing that. Just again, he's got a bit more pace. Defensively, I feel like he'd probably be a bit more solid over Toffolo, but I don't know. So that's my thoughts on the defence currently. So let's say we're making a dream team for Forest and Leicester. I'm thinking Henderson, Williams, Worrell, probably Bardet. I'd quite like to see him get a debut, or like a debut in the back four, sort of first chance to sort of really cement a position in the squad. And then probably Renan Lodi in sort of that left back position. And then in terms of the rest of the shape, we could go 4-3-3, we could go 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1. We could go quite narrow because we have a lot of like natural out-and-out wingers in this team. Obviously, Freuler had a really good game for Switzerland, so he could get some minutes. Lewis O'Brien has not played for a couple of weeks, so it might be good to get him into the squad. Didn't start against Fulham, which was really stupid because he seemed to be the best player when he came on for us. Obviously, Mangala as well, if he's fit, should get the opportunity to come back in. And it feels like the team could maybe do with a little bit of rejigging in the final third as well. I think Dennis should get a game. I'd like to see Dennis get a game at least. I think he's not had the chance to really consistently prove himself. I don't think Taiwo's been bad, to be fair, at all this season. I don't think he's been bad. I think he's had a couple of games where he's not quite got into the pace of things, but generally I think he's been okay. Brennan, I said this in the last stream, I think Brennan could maybe do with maybe not a run out of the team, but just maybe a game on the bench just to like get some fitness back. He's played a lot recently, got an assist for Wales in the international break, played a lot last season as well, played over 50 games I think. You do feel like maybe he should be given the opportunity to have a game off the bench. and just give some other players an opportunity. Maybe get Gibbs White in there. We could get Lingard in there. Obviously, Dennis and Awoniyi maybe want to sort of play together in the front too. Sam Surridge, I mean, I don't necessarily think he's Premier League quality long term, but as an option, he can stretch defences. He's really hard working. He'll run in behind the defence. I think it'd be great to see him maybe get an opportunity. Been seeing a lot of hate for Ryan Yates on Twitter. Well, not hate, but I've been seeing a lot of people saying that maybe he was at fault for some of the goals at Fulham, or he's not quite out of this level. We're like 7 games into the season, his first 7 games in the Premier League, for which half of them he was injured. He's coming back from an injury over the summer. Like, I don't necessarily think he's going to be starting for us every game this season, but I think he does need to have a chance to get a run in the squad. Like, looking at him in terms of his numbers, I don't think he's necessarily doing anything wrong. Like, his defensive numbers aren't great, but they're okay. His progressive numbers aren't great, but again, they're okay. He's putting okay numbers together. Like, certainly nothing to suggest that he's out of his depth. He's maybe not our best midfielder, but, you know, I think he deserves a shot at least. And just in general, like, I don't know, feels like there could be some changes needed in the squad, maybe a change of shape just to give the team a little bit more freshness, rejuvenate the team a little bit. So, yeah, I don't know what you guys think about the Leicester matchup coming. If anybody's got any thoughts, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm generally feeling pretty optimistic. I think Leicester have been pretty arse for most of this season. I don't know what really has gone wrong with them, other than the fact that their team needs a bit of refreshment and a little bit of rejuvenation. Because on paper, like, their squad's fine. Like, you know, if Ricardo's fit, he's a really good right back. James Justin was really promising a couple of years ago. Luke Thomas is solid. Obviously, they lost Fofana at the end of the transfer window. And again, that's a lot of money that they've got coming in, 70 million odd for Fofana from Chelsea. In January, that could be an opportunity for them to reinvest that and look to maybe get 1 or 2 interesting defenders in. I know they looked at Demiral a couple of years ago. I think he went to Atalanta, but I think he was kind of seen as maybe a poison chalice because he picked up an ACL injury and then didn't get the chance to come in. And Didi, you know, is a really solid defensive midfielder. He doesn't offer very much on the ball, but if you're looking for somebody who just lights out, who can defend and can win the ball back for you, like, Leicester have that. And then Tielemans sort of alongside him doing the sort of progressive side of the game, the long passing, the short passing, stitching things together. It's still a pretty good squad. Like, Daka up front, if you can get him firing, he's quick, he's a good runner, he's got good movement off the sort of back line of the defenders. It just feels a bit weird that they can't get that quality and calibre of player firing. It's like Aston Villa a bit as well. I don't know why Gerrard just can't get anything out of them, but there's a solid squad of players there that you feel like could at least finish mid-table, and they're doing so poorly at the beginning of the season that, I don't know, maybe you do look at the manager and say, like, how are you not getting out this much quality out of the talent that you've got? But who knows? Who knows? It was a weird noise. So yeah, obviously I've got the actual preview coming out on Sunday. I've just finished the script this afternoon for it. Just sort of thinking about Leicester and thinking about things that, you know, they need to improve. Obviously the goalkeeping situation is the biggest and most glaring issue. If we look at something like save percentage, let's go on to FB Ref. Can you tell I've not streamed in a while? I'm very disjointed on my thinking at the moment. Normally I have a lot more of a clear thought plan on what I'm doing with these streams, but not at the moment for whatever reason. So, like, if we're looking at save percentage, so let me just 1 second. Take its time to load here. Switch you over. So this is FB Ref. Explained it loads of times. Great for stats, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Right at the bottom here, we have Leicester City and Danny Ward. And this is the save percentage column. Obviously, save percentage, the percentage of times that they save shots on target. You know how it works. You know how that works. Top of the list, Pickford for Everton. I know that Pope's also having a good season. Lloris, Alisson, Jose Sarr. Basically, average in the Premier League is around 70%. Consistently over the last sort of few years, 70-71% has been considered pretty good to average. A few keepers behind that this year, but generally, that's what's seen as it. Dean Henderson is down here at 60%, although to be fair, we have had a battering at the hands of Man City, so I don't think you can read too much into that yet, just in terms of that. And then right down here we have Danny Ward, 40% save percentage. To put that into perspective, that is half as worse, like 50% of what Pickford is doing at Everton in terms of save percentage. So for every 10 shots that these guys face, say Pickford saves 8.5 of them on average, so around 9 of them. He's got a good save percentage. The amount saved by Danny Ward is halved, down in the 4s of every 10 shots he's faced. That is really, really bad. Like, not laughably bad, because it's not fair on the guy. He's clearly not at the level, but it's not good. And that's the obvious area that they need to improve in. Leicester as a side concede quite a lot of shots anyway. That's just indicative of the kind of team that they are. And unfortunately, a product of conceding a lot of shots and having a keeper who isn't that good at shot stopping is that you concede a lot of goals, obviously. So that's the obvious area for me that I think they need to improve. And generally, I think they need to work on conceding less shots and having a bit more width in their side. To concede less shots, I mean, I feel like the obvious thing would be to be a bit more defensively sound in their shape. Maybe go into a 5 at the back shape, something maybe like a 5-2-3 or a 3-5-2, I guess you call it. With maybe Daka and Vardy up front trying to spring on the counter-attack. Sort of Harvey Barnes maybe or Maddison drifting inside. You've got maybe Tielemans and Ndidi in the midfield too. And then, you know, a back 5 that's looking to compress space and prevent quality of opportunities being generated. Because if we look at something like, where it is shooting, opposition stats, distance. So this is the proximity to goal of chances conceded, basically. And if we look at Leicester, they are... Where are Leicester on here? Leicester City are... my mind isn't... Here we go. So Leicester City are conceding high quality opportunities. As you can see, they're quite low down here, which means that the shots that they do concede are quite close to goal. The higher you're up on this list, the further out from goal the shots you concede are. So Tottenham, we talked about them in the preview, they're a team who are very good at sitting back, frustrating teams. It might mean that they concede a lot of opportunities and sometimes will concede a worldie because obviously Lloris isn't the best from long distance, at least I've felt in the past. But a product of that is they concede shots from far away from goal, from generally outside the box. Leicester, on the other hand, concede shots from a much closer proximity. Forest, as you can see, we're quite high up the list as well. We defend very well, very deep, concede a fair amount of opportunities, but again, generally concede opportunities from a greater proximity to goal than Leicester do. And they're a team who need to find a way to prevent shots of high quality being conceded. And the way they could do that is maybe shifting to a back 5, a bit more of a defensive structured shape, having a little bit more confidence to sort of sit back and break out on the counter-attack, because it maybe just feels like they don't have the personnel to dominate teams anymore. They don't have the ability to recycle play quite as well. So again, that's something we'll maybe touch upon in the preview for YouTube, but that's just something I thought I would, again, sort of make a general point on. They concede a lot of opportunities, their keeper isn't very good at saving things, and they concede high quality opportunities. Again, if we look at XG, which is in this one, XG against, they concede a lot of opportunities. They're a high quality conceding team, and it doesn't get made up for by their attack, unfortunately. Despite the fact their attack actually hasn't been that bad from what I can remember. Goals for Leicester. Yeah, Leicester are, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th in the league for goals scored. So they clearly know how to score goals. They just can't stop them being conceded. And I guess a big part of that is having Danny Ward in goal, but, you know, that would be hopefully something they would look to address long term. So I think that's pretty much it on the Leicester front. I feel like I've covered them pretty in depth there, talking about things like their quality of goalkeeper and the chances that they concede. In terms of the ways we can actually get at them and cause them problems, I think in the wide areas they could really struggle. Off the top of my head, I don't think they've got too much quality in their fullbacks and their wingbacks, and I do feel like Tottenham really exploited them in that way against them. Obviously Tottenham, the way they play is a 3-4-3. I wish I could get like a, let me just, whilst I'm talking, See if that switches over. Hang on. One second. Is this going to work? Well, this might actually work. So let me just get this set up for 1 second. Ignore the colours as well. I'm just quickly setting this up so it works in some kind of way. So I'm putting Tottenham in this kind of like burgundy colour, and then I'll put Leicester in blue because they actually play in blue. I should have done this beforehand, but I didn't think I was actually going to be doing this in any form of detail. Premier League. So generally they're playing kind of like a 4-1-4-1 kind of shape. 4-3-3, 4-1-4-1. You get the idea of like Leicester, the way they play. It's quite a distinct shape, I guess, to the way that they play normally. 1 second, and then I'll switch you over. Here we go. So I've got a little tactics board up here. So in the light blue, we've got Leicester. In the burgundy, we've got Tottenham. So Tottenham play 3-4-3, and they really exploited Leicester basically with the width that they have in this team. They do tend to leave a lot of space in these sort of central areas of the pitch. Kane sort of dropping off from the left, Kulusevski coming inside, Son coming inside, and then obviously getting their width from the fullbacks. And even the midfielders push into quite wide areas. You'll often see the centre-backs, if the fullbacks coming inside, you'll quite often see the centre-backs sometimes overlapping. And generally, Leicester just do not have the quality in these wide areas defensively to deal with that. And obviously, the way that Forest play, how do I go back? There is no way I can go back, unfortunately. We play, obviously, with 2 strikers, split strikers, 1 through the middle, 2 wing-backs, 2 central midfielders, and then the back 3. So this is how Forest line up usually. And again, if we can get to them in these kinds of areas, really exploit the lack of quality and width defensively that they have, get Brennan dropping into these wide right positions that he really likes to do, Taiwo on the edge of the defender, getting Renan Lodi and Nico to sort of stretch the team as wide as possible. How do I draw a line on this? Here we go. Trying to really stretch the team as much as possible. And then obviously the midfielders sort of offering the defensive coverage, but also the supplementary runs, keeping nice and compact defensively so they can't spring out and cause us too many problems. If we were going 3 at the back, that's a really good way that we could really cause some problems to Leicester. Obviously, the fact that we can stretch them as wide as we can, it creates space in these central areas for us to really cause some problems. And that's the sort of area Taiwo wants to be in, on the shoulder of the defender. He's strong, he's good with his movement, and generally can cause some problems in those areas. Another way we could do this is by playing maybe like a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1 kind of shape. So we go to a back 4, so we've got 2 centre-backs, 2 full-backs, 2 sit-in midfielders, a number 10, striker, 2 forwards. You see the kind of shape I've got going on here. Again, using the wing-backs to make sure that this team is as stretched as possible, stretched as far as possible this way, making sure that we've got players in the half space, and making sure that we've obviously got the striker sort of able to peel inside, make these kinds of runs. We could do this by playing Lingard off the left. We could play Emmanuel Dennis off the left. He can play in that position. He's done it for Watford. He also did it a bit for Bruges. He's really good at sort of getting into these sorts of areas. He can come wide as well and drive at defences. But generally occupying this sort of left half space, that could really work. Obviously, Brennan playing in a similar kind of position, but also able to come wide, come narrow, get in behind, come into more central areas and sort of impact play in that kind of way. Having someone like Gibbs-White behind them who can drop into deeper positions to receive possession from the midfielders, get into more advanced positions, get beyond his man if he needs to, get into these positions. He was really good for Sheffield United at getting into wide right areas to drill crosses in and generally, impact play in that kind of way. And I'd probably go for a midfield two of maybe Lewis, O'Brien and Yates, just two really solid defensive midfielders. O'Brien can do a bit of ball progression. Yates can be a bit more of a screening presence doing this sort of stuff. We could also play Freuler in a bit more advanced position. He's, Gibbs-White doing this kind of stuff, really good, but also you've got Freuler who can impact through passing, much better at getting the ball into the penalty area. Can I get a ball on here? Yeah, getting the ball into like these kinds of areas. This software is not good like at all. You get the idea. Using Freuler in more of a creative sort of way and using Gibbs-White more in retaining possession. It depends how we want to do things. So, yeah, that's just me basically rambling a bit about what we could do against Leicester in terms of our shape. It'll be a bit more coordinated in the actual preview video there. That pretty much covers it on the Leicester versus Forest sort of preview stuff. The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about was this All-Star game thing. I might spend like a couple of minutes talking about that. So give me 1 second. So we're seeing, if I move this over, we're seeing quite a lot of publications sort of rumouring that we might be getting some kind of All-Star game where basically an All-Star 11 of Premier League players go and face an All-Star 11 of Bundesliga, La Liga, Liga and Italian League, whatever teams. Which I'm kind of against, actually. I think a lot of people are for it because they like the idea that you're going to get the extra game and stuff like that. Obviously, it's coming off the back of this All-Star North versus South thing. I think after how congested this season's going to be, with the World Cup right in the middle of the season as well, I just don't see where the time is to do it. Like, unless you're not going to do the Community Shield anymore, or a Charity Shield, or whatever it's called now, or you maybe want to scrap the EFL Cup or something like that, I just don't see the point in doing it. I don't, other than making a bit of money for broadcasters and for, a little bit of money for the Premier League clubs, I don't see the point, and that's a ice cream van in the middle of autumn for some reason going past. That's really loud. Why? I don't know if you could hear that. There's an ice cream van like right outside my house for some reason. Yeah, anyway, I'm personally against this All-Star game thing. I was against this North v South game thing as well. I don't think it makes sense to make the players play more matches. Like, I can see the argument that, they're being paid all this money and, they should play as much as they're made to play and all that kind of stuff, but I don't get it, actually. I don't get that argument. I think it's stupid because that's why we're seeing more like muscular injuries, because they're being made to play more games. And with the congestion of the season because of the World Cup, I just don't understand why you would want to do this. So that's my opinion on how things are with this All-Star game thing. Not a fan personally, but I suppose some people will probably end up being a fan of it for whatever reason. But yeah, I think that pretty much wraps things up. And going for about half an hour, I don't think I'll keep you for much longer, to be honest. A bit of a disjointed live stream today. Didn't really know what I was doing or preparing to do for this one. Just wanted to talk mainly about the Leicester versus Forest match on Monday Night Football. Just give a bit of context, talk a bit about what's going on for Leicester, which we did a little bit. So yeah, hopefully it explains it a little bit better. If it doesn't, I've got the full actual match preview going out on Sunday at around 6 or 7 o'clock. I usually try and get them out 24 hours before the match, more or less. So hopefully it'll be out for that sort of time. But yeah, if you have watched the stream, thank you very much for joining me. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed me rambling about Forest versus Leicester and talking a bit about the potential All-Star matches that we could see with the Premier League and other European leagues. Drop a like on it. Don't forget to do that. The VOD will be up momentarily. and I will catch you on Sunday for the match preview. Got some more content as well planned out. Now I'm back off holiday and things are back to normal. Definitely looking at getting some more videos out in the midweek periods as well. So with that being said, thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I will catch you later.